Did Adam and Eve really exist? Were there really two original humans who populated the entire planet? Christians want to be committed to the Bible, but the science behind only two original humans is a little tricky, if not impossible, according to scientists who study population genetics. But there's also debate about how the Bible's story of Adam and Eve is meant to be understood. Is it literal? Is it myth or metaphor? Is it something in between? How does Genesis work with science? What if it doesn't work at all? Some popular Christian apologists, like Bill Craig, have taken surprising positions here. Are they out of line? I took a deep dive into this issue, looking at the writings of Bill Craig and others. This video is not meant to solve the debate. Instead, I'm going to help Christians understand this debate, what we should be committed to, and where we can leave room for disagreement. If you're not a Christian and this whole debate about Adam and Eve is holding you back from considering Jesus, you'll definitely want to watch this video too. First off, there are several different views among committed Christians about how to understand Adam and Eve. Some say that the couple never really existed, or that they existed, but it was hundreds of thousands of years ago. That's Bill Craig. Or they existed fairly recently, but they weren't really the first two people. Or they existed recently and were the first two people, and science is still catching up to the fact. Each of these positions is going to talk about science differently and talk about the Bible differently. If you're going to be a committed Christian and think Christianly about Adam and Eve, then I would say, however you understand this couple, we should not abandon the view that the Bible is right about everything it teaches. That said, the important question we must ask is this: what exactly does the Bible teach about Adam and Eve? Christians can disagree about what the Bible teaches regarding Adam and Eve, but we should agree that whatever it teaches rightly. This commitment to the Bible is often called inerrancy. It matters for several reasons I can't get into here, but I have other videos on inerrancy that you can check out when you're done here. Now, some of you might be thinking, isn't it obvious what the Bible teaches about Adam and Eve? Isn't it clear that the Bible teaches these two people were real, who lived maybe 10,000 years ago, not evolved, but created directly by God, and they were the first two humans on earth? Isn't it obvious that whenever Christians deny some or all of these details about Adam and Eve, they are cowards, denying Scripture itself and bending to modern science when instead we should just trust the Bible? Well, maybe, but slow down. The Bible was written in a different time, different place, different culture, different language. Given how removed it is from the modern way that we read things today, we need to handle this a little more carefully. Before anything else, we need to analyze the genre of Genesis chapters 1 through 3, where Adam and Eve are talked about. If you don't know, just about any class you take on interpreting the Bible will focus heavily on genre, because every conservative evangelical Christian scholar agrees genre matters. Think about how we read things today. You see the words, "the bridge was on fire." What are those words teaching? It depends on the genre. If you're reading from the local news, it's teaching about some local bridge that's actually on fire. If you're reading a novel, it's not teaching about an actual bridge, but it's informing us about an imaginary bridge in the story that is on fire. If you're reading poetry, maybe it's conveying a relationship that's tearing itself apart. People are burning bridges. Here's another one that connects well to the whole Adam and Eve debate. Think about the story of the boy who cried wolf. The story is about a boy who was in charge of warning shepherds when he spotted a wolf coming after the sheep. In this story, he pretends there's a wolf because he thinks it's funny, but when an actual wolf comes, nobody believes him. The genre of this story is fable. It's a made-up story that teaches a moral lesson. Don't joke about serious things. That's true. We shouldn't joke around like that. So, the boy who cried wolf teaches truthfully. But it doesn't teach that there really was a boy and a wolf and these things really happened in some village 200 years ago. We know this because we know the genre. Returning to Adam and Eve in Genesis, a good number of evangelical scholars, probably the majority of them, would say that the genre of Adam and Eve's story in Genesis is not a simple historical report of what happened. In recent times, the evangelical philosopher and apologist Bill Craig did a deep analysis of the genre of the story and concluded that Adam and Eve's story is in the genre he calls mytho-history. Don't be alarmed at this. The word myth is there, but Craig has repeatedly said that he doesn't mean myth in our normal way of using that word. It's not fake or made up. Myth is a technical term of a genre that was used in some writings of the ancient Near East. The myth genre comprises traditional stories written primarily as narratives, handed down through generations, considered sacred, and believed by the community. These stories discuss an event long ago or from another realm that involves deities, wild events, and is somehow connected to present realities. Simply put, the myth genre is somewhat comparable to our modern-day fables, like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. However, Adam and Eve are also talked about in the New Testament. Sometimes they are merely discussed for the sake of making a moral point, like the way we talk about the boy who cried wolf. If that's the only way Adam and Eve are talked about in the New Testament, then the myth fable thing still works. However, Bill Craig points out that the New Testament occasionally refers to Adam and Eve as real individuals. Romans 5, Acts 17:26. Additionally, certain passages in the Old Testament associate them with the lineage of individuals like Abraham. So, even though Adam and Eve's story arguably belongs to the myth genre, it seems that they also did actually exist. Sin entered the world through them, and they populated the world. That's why Craig says Adam and Eve's genre is mytho-history. This is a little weird because it's like a fable, but there's also historical elements in it. As a genre, there is no great comparison to a modern day genre that we can use to try and understand it. So it's hard to think about Genesis. The genre is just foreign to us, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. Now, Craig's whole mytho-history thing has been criticized. He's been responding. I'm not here to settle it all. But hopefully you can see how the whole genre issue is really important when discussing Genesis. And notice also that even though we land on different beliefs about the genre, giving us, different views about Adam and Eve, we can still affirm that the Bible is right about everything it teaches. Again, that's what matters to me the most. Now, real quick, let's talk about how science factors into all this. For committed Christians, we should expect that the Bible is true and God made a universe that can be studied accurately through science. Sometimes, where the Bible is unclear, our knowledge of science can help us understand what's going on in the Bible. At other times, when science is unclear, the Bible can help us think through the questions of science. Granted, most of the time, science and the Bible discuss different things entirely. So they never really get in each other's way. But you get these rare moments, like the first two humans, where both science and the Bible are speaking together, and they seem to say different things. One of the issues with science is that, according to population genetics, humanity did not begin from just two people, but it could have taken at least a small population of people to account for the genetic diversity among humanity today. If you read the recent Perspectives book on the historical Adam, Craig believes he has solved the problem by placing Adam and Eve way far back in history. Andrew Loke believes he has solved the problem by reinterpreting what it means that Adam and Eve were really the first two humans. Marcus Ross thinks he solved the problem by rethinking what the scientific data tells us. Apart from that book, you also have Joshua Swadamus, who's worked on this issue and carved his own path. A lot of these people are in conversation with each other, agreeing sometimes, disagreeing at other times. But my point is, you have options. If you think that the only way forward for a Christian is to deny the Bible or to deny modern science, that's just demonstrably wrong. I mean, there's other options. For me, I've done evangelistic things where during Q&A, people ask about Adam and Eve. And my typical response is to say that this conversation matters. We want to get the Bible right. We want to get science right. However, This really is an in-house debate among Christians, and I wouldn't let that slow you down from considering the most critical issue that matters most. It's not, what do you make of Adam and Eve? It's, what do you make of Jesus? Figure that out first. And if you come to believe in Jesus like I do, then we can play around with these different theories of Adam and Eve, all the while remaining committed to the truth that the Bible is right in everything it teaches, nor is it an enemy to the science behind this amazing world God has given us. Again, I encourage you to explore some of my work on the concept of inerrancy. I also did a short general thing on the relationship between science and the Bible. I'll drop some stuff in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.